Hello, all you beautiful Kiwi jib stoppers out there in drywall land, and welcome to an athletic episode of the Drywall Podcast. With us today, we welcome our third and fourth guests from New Zealand, Paul and Bridget Manners of Manners Suppliers. Paul and Bridget run a drywall distribution company and have made quite a name for themselves. We dive into the history of Manners and discover why Bridget's father decided to bring Manners to life and how this fledgling business has evolved over the years.
And I think where it's really shifted in the since we've been doing it, and especially when David was doing it, no one knew of ready-mix compounds or auto tools, and so he was bringing it in and then doing the work to show people. Whereas now, everything's available online, right? I mean, Alice was great, but all these people were, and so we would get the demand comes often to us, and then it's like, right, we've now got the reach of all of the country with for distribution with our retailers. So we've got in New Zealand, so we're based in Auckland, and we land our product into Auckland, and then we've got retailers up the length of the country, and so we will then sell across there with and so we have a mixture of so hardware. One customer base is like our hardware channel, so like your Home Depots. And then we also deal with more plastering, drywall niche shops, like I don't know what over there, like a Gyprox.
We discuss how this dynamic duo came to be and why Paul decided to throw in with the family business. We discuss their travels, but we mostly talk about distribution and how this weird aspect of the drywall industry has more influence than you might think. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Can-Am Tools. That's right, Can-Am Tools is doubling down in the month of March, and we couldn't be happier. Not only that, they are launching a new tool that you will also have a chance to win this month. Okay, the original inventors of the semi-automatic drywall taping and finishing tools are back. Whether you're a hand finisher ready to level up or a machine taper looking for tools that make the tough spots a little easier, Can-Am has been solving that problem longer than anyone else on the planet. They're also looking for dealers across the U.S. who want to carry a proven Canadian product with 50 years behind it. Check them out at canamtools.com. For this month, Can-Am is doing something a little special. This one's for all you lazy asses who didn't enter on the last Can-Am giveaway. The Drywall Podcast and Can-Am is giving you a second chance. Can-Am is continuing the trend of launching new tools on the Drywall Podcast and giving you a chance to win them before the rest of the market even has a chance to get them. Join me from the ice bath at the end of the month for 3 chances to win. First up, backed by popular demand, the 32-inch applicator tube with extendable handle, still unreleased. That will be the first prize. The second prize will be the Gold Core Inside Corner Roller. This one's new and it's unreleased, and this will be the second prize. Third will be the Outside Corner Applicator Tool, still unreleased, and I still need to get this in my hands so that I can show you guys how awesome it is. Can-Am wants to extend this prize offer to all the Drywall Podcast listeners far and wide, because that's just how they roll. Given that Can-Am tools are trusted by pros around the world, they feel it's a great way to acknowledge the international community, and so do I. All you have to do is email me your full name and address to info@frescoharmony.com and you're in. It's just that easy. Lastly, be sure to check out my interview with the great Wolfgang Dombrowski of Can-Am Tools, episode 44. Way back. It's good, and I think you are going to like it. But for now, we have Bridget Manners and Paul Curran with Manners Drywall Distributors out of Auckland, New Zealand, on the 165th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. Manners. Like, it makes me think of, in the United States, like, you guys have manners. You have so much manners that you named your company Manners.
That's correct.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. Of course, it's actually Bridget's surname, but
it's a surname.
It's my surname, yeah. And I'm a twin, so we used to get called Good and Bad Manners. So it's
ooh. The plot thickens. Nice. Well, welcome to the Drywall Podcast. It's Bridget. Bridget.
Yeah.
Bridget. Not Bridget. Bridget.
Yeah.
Bridget and Paul. And you two are married, correct?
We're partners, yes, but we're not actually married.
You're partners, but not married. Okay. I don't want to jump to conclusions. Yeah. I don't want to put any pressure on anybody here on the Drywall Podcast. We want everybody to feel really comfortable.
That's all right. Well, we've got the business, the house, the children, just not the marriage.
Yeah.
What's going on, Paul? What's going on? We'll change subject. We can get to it later. We're not comfortable enough yet, but by the end of the podcast, maybe we'll dive in a little bit to the inner workings of the relationship. Okay, I met you guys. So first of all, Paul and Bridget. Bridget, what's your last name?
So I am a Manners. Yeah,
you're a Manners. And then yes. Paul's last name is Curran. And and you guys own Manners out of Auckland, New Zealand. That is a distribution drywall. Is it just drywall distribution company, or do you distribute other things?
We do. We distribute other things. It's mainly a drywall. Drywall was the original focus of the business, but since we've diversified. We do lots of other stuff as well, but drywall is one of the main things.
Okay, and I think I met you guys about 3 years ago. I had a booth at the Las Vegas AWCI Build 23 show, and you came by and you saw some of my stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I think even back then though, I was a little gun shy about selling out of the United States. Mm-hmm. And I remember your card sat on my table for a long time. I was like, I need to get back in touch with those guys, and I never did. Can-Am has sponsored the Drywall Podcast several times, and it was actually Wolfgang's idea that he said you should reach out to Paul and Bridget with Manners out of New Zealand. I was like, oh yeah, I know those guys. And so here we are. Thank you so much for being on the Drywall Podcast today. Have you gotten a chance to listen to a couple of episodes or any at all?
Yes.
I listened to Brad and Alice.
Yeah.
Two of the ones you sent through. I didn't quite get to Mike Ventura, but we said
okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's from the United States. I mean, you want to listen to
We've actually met Mike several times. We went over to LA and we met him at a few shows, obviously AWCI shows. But we do travel to the US reasonably regularly to see Westpac Materials and whatnot, so we're trying to catch up with a few of our agencies when we're over there. So I've met Mike a couple of times.
Okay, and you hadn't heard of the Drywall Podcast until I suggested it to you, correct? Or I reached out. What do you think? What's your did you enjoy the episodes?
I did. It's nice and light. It's nice and easy. It's not too. I suppose it's not too much about talking shop, and as you said, a little bit more about personalities and the people involved. So
I really liked Brad and Alice too. She was great too. But Brad's story is really fun.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that about going from New Zealand to England to like work for a year. How cool is that? That's common. That's common.
I've done it. Bridget did it. It's kind of a bit of a rite of passage for New Zealanders and Kiwis, New Zealanders, Australians, and South Africans do the same thing. So.
Yeah, and if you're listening too, they call them Kiwis. Kiwis is another term for a New Zealander, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think I learned that from previous episode. You guys did the same thing. Everybody does that. They go and just live in a different country for a year. That is so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna ask more questions about that. But before we get into that, where are we gonna start? Let's start your guys' background, and I guess we could go to where you two met, but I'm curious about the origin of Manners and how you two became involved with that company. But what's your background, real quick? Bridget, did you go to college? What's the story there?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So I've been away. So this was my father's company.
Okay.
He started it in 1983. So I've always been involved. I've always, right from when I was a young age, always known about the business. Always school holidays, we've folded marketing flyers and come into the warehouse as children. So always been involved in it. And then I went off to college or university. I did a physical education degree. I was right into sports and things at the time. So that's what I did. And then straight after that, all through my 20s, really, I travelled and did odd jobs and came back and worked for the family business and then took off travelling again. And and it was only it's probably been in the last 10, 12 years of full-time worked in the business.
You're an athlete.
I'm not an athlete. I was into my sports at school. So then I was like, well, what else am I going to do at university? So I went and did a PE degree.
Yeah.
Which, would have taken, there were several things could have done. I could have done physio, could have done school teaching, coaching.
Yeah.
Any space. But I think once I finished it, it wasn't something that I saw myself as a career.
Are you a fit person? Are you a fit person now? Do you keep in shape and worry about your health and all that good stuff?
I'd like to think so. I probably don't do as much as what I should do.
You're curious about fitness, though. You studied it in college.
Yeah. I did enjoy it, so yeah.
Okay, all right.
It feels like it was a long time ago now.
Bridget played lots and lots of sports when she was younger.
She's an athlete. That's what I said.
Absolutely.
Don't downplay it, man. What sports did?
He also did represent or was in the squad for the New Zealand cricket team. So
shut it. Now we're talking.
So
now we're talking.
very, very
See, sometimes I got to dig in. I got to dig in a little bit. Cricket. That's so cool. You see cricket on TV. I'm not too familiar with the rules. It's kind of similar. There's similarities to baseball, but that's really cool. So you represented New Zealand cricket team?
Well, I did age group stuff. I stopped. I peaked at about 19, and then I stopped after I finished university. And so nothing to finished up there. But we were just going to say that the T20 World Cup cricket is on at the moment, and USA are doing okay in it. So you do play cricket in you do play.
I think it's the first time you've been in an international tournament, but you're doing quite well.
Well, you won't hear about that on the news. But unfortunately, you just hear the bad stuff about the United States.
That's not only in the United States.
Oh, boy. Let's not get into any of that if we can help it.
I dropped my daughter off this morning. She said, "Dad, are you going to be on television?" I said, "I hope not, because if it's on the news, it's generally not a good thing."
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll post the full interview on YouTube, and normally I drop the YouTube interview on Thursday, and then the actual interview drops the Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean, and some of the other podcast platforms. So that's just kind of how I do it. I like to bolster the videos on YouTube. But I'm shooting from the hip. I don't know what I'm doing. We're 160. You guys will be 165 episodes.
There we go.
Whatever.
You're in good shape when it comes to that, because neither do I. So.
Very cool. I want to talk about the father a little bit. So, why would he, and let's get his name really quick. Why would he start a distribution company?
Yeah, David Manners. He worked for a company, a retail group in paint and decorating here in New Zealand as a buyer. That's how he got started within the industry, I suppose.
Okay.
And then from there, so at the time in New Zealand, this was like the 80s,
Yeah.
we had only a handful of importer distributors. You had to get a
Yep.
special license here. So from his buying job, he worked with a supplier, I think, who got him a job as a commission sales rep, selling some of the products that was imported into the country, and as a paintbrush manufacturer. So he worked as a sales rep, selling those products. And then I think after some time, he just decided I think they were opening up the licenses and that more importer distributors could come into New Zealand. And so he set up his own business within that paint and decorating space. And so he started attending the US hardware shows,
Okay.
and I think the AWCI then at the time. And he picked up, I think one of his first agencies was Hyde Tools.
Okay.
In the States, yeah. And then he met, I think it's probably early 90s, he
Was there a lot
met
of US was there a lot of US tools in New Zealand or tools from all over the world in New Zealand at that time? There was a need to get maybe more diversity in like the painting and decorating industry, like just as far as tools getting to New Zealand.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Yeah, I presume that we wouldn't have had much, but we wouldn't have the agencies. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I spoke to David about it yesterday, and I think it was a bit of a chicken and egg in the sense that from the drywall perspective, there really wasn't any. It was only one compound available of ag product because the whole industry was based around wallpaper, so no one finished walls to a paint
Ooh,
finish at all. So
interesting.
he saw the opportunity, and that's when the Hamilton / Westpac Materials agency came about. And that was late 80s, early 90s when he first started bringing it in. And then from that, because he was bringing in an air drying compound, then there was the opportunity to start in all the tools and the auto tools and all the accessories that go around actually finishing a wall properly, to a level 5.
So you mentioned air drying mud. That is what would be considered ready mix here, not quick set.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
not
You
quick
call it
set, yeah.
air
So the
drying?
industry was around. Yes, yes. Or air drying or ready mix, ready made. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay. Wallpaper was predominant in the finishing industry in New Zealand in the 80s or so. Wallpaper, they weren't really finishing drywall and painting, or was that a new industry that was up and coming?
Yeah, so there was wallpaper and that fibrous plaster was the main ones. I think I heard Brad talk about it, his father, fibrous. So those were the two industries that was what was used back in the 80s and 90s. And then David met with Hamilton's Materials, or Westpac now, up in the States, and he secured the agency for their compounds, and he started introducing their ready mix compounds into our market. And so that was the first New Zealand saw of like that type of compounds. Up until then, it was just using wallpaper
So,
chemical sets, so what the
Yeah.
powdered
all right.
product.
So not only was he having to bring in this material, he was sort of having to show people why it's great.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
I was
he had to be a marketer, a bit of a marketer.
yeah,
Yeah, I was at one of our clients' shops yesterday, and I met the father of the daughter who runs a shop. And first thing he said when he realised I was from Manners was, "Oh, how's David?" And he bought one of the first Applitech continuous flow systems over here,
Uh,
and we're talking that was sort of early 90s. And he talked about how David used to have trade evenings over in the warehouse, and he'd get it all out and he'd do put on a barbecue and do the displays and show people how it all worked. And so he was really proactive in the very early days because no one had really had a great deal of idea about auto tools or anything like that. Even though
but they were getting a continuous flow tool, which is progressive. I had the Applitech guy on the show.
Yeah, Dave Barnett too.
Yes,
I know Dave, yeah.
Yep.
We still represent Applitech.
Yeah.
But so even at that time, they were jumping on board with the continuous flow tools.
Yes.
Yeah, so he introduced the Hamilton's range, and then from there it led to automatic tools. So, and that's when what was the brand? Yeah, so he brought in a brand.
He started with North Star.
It was North
with
Star.
North Star when it was
Concord tools as well. I don't know if it was
But you guys didn't jump on board with like Ames, because they were like, right? I mean, sort of back then it was like Ames tools was the, or the renting or any of that.
That came later. We do represent Ames tools over here now too.
Okay.
But I don't know when they came on board, but.
No, there was a brand called Concord. I'm not sure if how that's related to Ames. Yeah, there were a couple of brands that he brought in. In the 90s, and Applitech was one of them. I recall he said he's like, we bought in over like a period of 2 years, like 20 to 30 machines, like of Applitech. So there was a period where there were quite a lot of. They had a guy come out from Applitech, and they would do a few road shows. And then they would sell a few machines. So there was quite a lot of continuous flows happening out in the
interesting, because they struggle a little bit in the United States to get like, they're constantly trying to educate finishers on the potential of continuous flow. Tape Tech as well, alongside Applitech too. There's there's a couple different systems. I talked with Mark Wilson about the continuous flow system with those guys as well, and the challenges of marketing that system.
Yeah, we've sold. I think I've sold about 3 or 4 in the last 5 years of the Tape Tech bazookas, the big ones. The biggest issue we have over here, and I think it's the same in the US, is you really need a clear site to go in and just knock over, a lot of rooms to make it actually effective. And that's always been an issue here. That the stopper will get on site and there'll be sparkies and plumbers and everyone finishing off, and he just can't use the machine. So that's probably the biggest,
Yeah. Well, let's back up a little bit. Okay, so we've got a little history of manners. Paul, what were you? I mean, how do you fit into all this? You're strolling along one day. You see Bridget. You're like, I'm in. That's it.
I want to drive.
Exactly. Well,
you're like,
funnily enough, it's.
I want to be in the business. I want to get with you. I want to be in the business. The works.
Absolutely.
I want the works.
Very similar to the.
Okay.
I met Bridget quite a few years ago, but we got together, and I ended up moving over here. My background is in hospitality in Australia. I was in hotels and restaurants, and you name it. I kind of did it, nightclubs, festivals, the whole lot. And I did that for many years, and then I moved over here and thought I would continue that, but didn't end up happening that way. So I got a job in the family business, and the rest is history. But I'd never worked in the building industry or drywall or anything like that.
Okay, but you're from Australia, not New Zealand.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm from Australia.
Okay.
It's quite, yeah.
Yep.
That's
I'm a very good friend of Bridget's brother, so it was he who actually set us up.
Oh, your bro.
Are very good friends back in Australia, so for many years.
Okay, and that's common for Australia and New Zealand to intermesh.
Yes, reasonably, yeah. A lot of there's a huge Kiwi population in Australia. And vice versa, so yeah.
And where in Australia?
I'm from South Australia, so that's in the middle down the south. I grew up in a little town on the River Murray, but Adelaide was home for most of my life, which is the capital of South Australia.
And do you guys go back to Australia and visit family and stuff sometimes?
As much as we can, yeah. I have a daughter over there who just turned 18, so I go back regularly and see her. And, I have some family. My family's very spread out, so I only have one sister back in Australia at the moment. So
okay, and the daughter is between you two or different?
No, that's from my previous.
Okay. All right. Well, we're starting to figure out. We're starting to paint a picture.
Paint a picture. Yeah.
Okay, so you are good friends with the brother. He's in Australia for whatever reason, and you guys are buds. You're in hospitality, and he's and you and through him does he hook you guys up? He's like, you should meet my sister. Is it like that?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you two meet, stars fly. And then she sees your talent. Obviously, she's like, you got to come work. You got to come work with me at Manners because we need you.
Correct.
All right. And how long?
Well, my talent was initially assembling concrete mixers.
Okay.
We had a big order come through. It was like, we need to build 10 concrete mixers. Can you come and do it? I was like, okay, yep, no worries. I wasn't doing a great deal. I was had just arrived and was looking around for some work. So that's how it started. Yeah.
And was David still active in the company at the time?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Is he still active in the company?
Not really, but
he comes out. He loves it. It's hard to keep him away. So if someone goes on holidays, he's out in the warehouse and packing parcels and wisdom upon the young people.
Yeah.
But so he really does like it.
He sounds like a true entrepreneur, and like he essentially gave birth to this distribution company that's now, I would say, successful. You guys it seems like you're doing pretty well. Very cool. So you start out assembling concrete mixers for the company. Were you guys together at that time?
Yes.
Yeah.
You were. Okay.
Yeah, I moved over from. So we sort of did a long distance relationship for a bit over a year, and then figured we either had to, Bridget had to come to Australia, or I had to come to New Zealand, and so I ended up moving over here, so that's.
I like it. It's.
But he looked for a restaurant for hospitality jobs, and I don't pay too well over here in New Zealand. So he was like,
a little bit different to Australia. It's a bit hard to make a living in hospitality.
What were you actually doing in hospitality? I think like hotels, casinos. Were you like a?
For the last 2 years prior to me moving here, I was managing my brother's restaurant. Just prior to that, I owned a couple of pubs with a group of people. So pubs an Australian pub is what we call the American equivalent, bar, hotel.
Yeah.
So it does food. But yeah, I've done restaurant. I've kind of done everything. Restaurants. I used to run wineries, cellar doors, do events, festivals, nightclubs. So it's sort of everything under that banner I've done over. I worked in the solar industry doing installations and then ended up in the sort of more in the admin side of it. Was a painter for about 6 months.
Okay, well that helps us a little bit with some of the products.
Yeah. I've always been a bit of a sort of hands-on kind of person. I like to do stuff. I like to build stuff. I like to have a go. So yeah, it was good.
Let's talk about this excursion over to. You both went to England, Bridget. Like, what did you do? This is expected. It's like, okay, it's time for my 1 year in England. I'm going to just go over to England and do something. I mean, that blows me away. It's so cool. And so like, what a great like foundation as a youth to do something like that? Like even more powerful than college. What did you do? And you went to England.
Well, my first stint was actually to the States. I went to, so I did 9 or 10 months over. So first I started off and worked as a sailing instructor at a summer camp. You know how you have your summer camps in the United States for children? Yeah, so I worked in a little town called...
You're a sailor.
Well, I mean, we're around water, so I sailed when I was a child, but I'm not a sailor. We had boats.
Okay.
No, so I went, and you just had to... Yeah, so I went and worked in a summer camp, and they tend to just say, "Oh, what sports do you know?" And you just write what you've had a bit of experience in. So yeah, I worked around on a lake in Decatur, Kalamazoo, for about 4 months. Over there, and so I travelled around America, and then headed off to the UK for saw a bit of the UK. Came home because I ran out of money, saved up again, and then took off back over to the UK. 2 years later, and I worked over in the UK for 2 years. First of all, I just arrived it was actually just over in 2008, so it was right in when the GFC happened. So I worked at the NHS, which is their...
What's JFC?
GFC, the global financial crisis, that in 2008.
Yeah.
No, do you recall with the just the economy? Yeah, and so I arrived, and so I didn't have a job over there for 3 months as I arrived in the UK, and then I got a job working in the NHS, which is their hospital system over in the UK.
Okay.
And then I was just doing a temping role as an admin person. But the idea of that job was just so that I could earn some money so I could go and travel on the weekends. Because from New Zealand, we to travel anywhere, you have to get on a plane. So the attraction for us down here is that you work over in London, and then you can go and do several trips around Europe. And that was the reason why I think we will go and do it.
I just started hanging out in England a little bit because we're selling at GWI in Swindon. Ben's a super cool dude over there, and we're trying to get it over there. And we just had Drywall Marvin from the Netherlands. Paul, what was your experience travel?
Well, I went over similar kind of thing. Went over there and worked in restaurants and bars for 2.5 years.
You like restaurants? You like restaurants and bars? How come you're not doing it? Are you like doing micro brews or anything like that? Do you have aspirations to start your own little restaurant there?
I do. Probably not. I think I've done that. It's quite hard work. I do make rum. That's my hobby.
Okay.
So if I was going to be doing anything in the future down that road, it probably would be a little distillery. But that's my current passion in that field. But
we've got a sailor, we've got a salty sailor, and we have a rum maker.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, boy, I'll say why rum? What's the attraction to rum?
I enjoy drinking rum. I like rum, and it's one of the few spirits that you can sort of finish in a couple of years. If you go down the sort of whiskey road, it's a lot longer lead time before you get a really drinkable product. So I suppose that's what one of the main reasons I make it sort of 2 years, and it's kind of marketable. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you sell a brand of rum?
No. I've only been doing it for about 3 or 4 years now. So
okay.
It's very much an in-house thing, but I sort of, I obviously give a lot away because I make a lot. So I'm sort of, just trying to get a feel for where I'm at with regards to quality, and maybe in the future.
All right.
I've designed a label, if nothing else.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, now you can do like AI. You could type in like I'm a rum manufacturer from New
Oh,
Zealand.
that's true.
It's
Yep,
true.
off we go.
I've been playing around a lot with the AI. It's pretty fascinating. I'm a little nervous about it, but it's amazing, like what it does, what it can do.
Yeah.
yeah. Do you use it to
Okay.
use content in your yeah, what do you use it for mainly?
I just started using it for content on the podcast. So I write like I sort of take notes when we're talking so that I know what's going on. And I don't forget anything or try not to forget. And then I listen to the podcast again and then I do like a summary.
Mhm.
Normally I would just from that I would write my script for the podcast. But now I kind of plug that into AI and the AI will actually write me a phenomenal script. Like
Interesting.
mine's just not even good. Like compare like what I was doing was like crap. Now I've got this like
Yeah,
robot that's like perfect.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I couldn't have hired a copy editor to do any better. So I'm using it in that capacity, like a copy editor, or I can just sit there and think because I'm more of a creative. There's things we all have our strong suits, and so
Mhm.
I'm learning to communicate with the AIs to have it deliver what I need. And I think there's a gap there where it's not just like Google. This is a assistant that
yeah,
you work with and that can give you, and your only limitation is yourself on how much of a relationship you want to build. Like
Mm.
that said, it's scary because you're essentially communicating with a robot and it's learning all about you. My
Yes.
my caution around AI would be our dependence on it,
mhm,
but
Mhm.
we're we have these and
yeah,
that we're already dependent on. So,
Yeah.
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 yeah. Are you guys
Very.
using AI in any capacity in manners?
Not at this stage.
No,
No, it is something we want to do to look into because a lot of our friends are using it for their businesses and their life in general. But yeah, not so it's ironically making the time to start the process so that we can free up the time. But
I was lucky, and shout out to Greg Strebe. So he's a, drywall finisher out of Springfield, Missouri, and he uh, like actually set it up. And I interviewed him. He actually worked with Amazon for a spell, and then they were just like too much of tyrants, and so he went back to drywall. He's making like a six-figure salary with Amazon, and he went back to drywall because he just couldn't. It was too much, and but he's very tech savvy, and he actually set it up for me and like sent it to me. So he had to like take me by the hand and
yeah,
then I was like, started to poke around. I was like, okay. He's like, just type in a prompt, and now I'm like almost every day. Like I'm
okay,
using it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's like sucks you in.
yeah,
easy
So
enough.
that's where I'm at with it thus far. But I would recommend it, yeah, for
mm,
proposals. If
Yeah,
I was to send you guys a proposal, I would explain your company, our relationship, I would do a whole prompt and then I would have it spit out a
yeah,
proposal for manners and why Fresco Harmony would be beneficial in the New Zealand market. And I would explain the whole thing and I would
yeah,
just have it do it.
yeah.
It's kind of cheating.
doing it the hard
It's
way.
kind of cheating.
It does sound very tempting. That's for sure.
And I just may, just so you guys have a clue, because you'll read through it
Yeah,
and you'll be
yeah,
like, oh, his secretary must have written this because, there's no way that guy could have produced this document. That's so amazing. But enough about that. You guys come back. The brother hooks, and what's the brother's name? Your brother, Bridget?
Toby,
Toby.
Toby,
And
yeah,
Tony?
Toby.
Toby.
Yeah.
Just the one brother?
I have a sister as well.
Okay. All right. A brother and a sister. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're still friends with Toby, Paul?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You guys are still, but does Toby work in the company?
No.
No, Toby lives in Adelaide. Um, but if you want to, the web gets more tangled because Toby has just returned
Yeah.
from 5 years in Indonesia, and he's
Okay.
been in business with my brother. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so
It's a
it's
family affair. What is Toby doing with your brother? And what's his name?
my brother's name is Andy, and the business has wound up now, but they were working on ostensibly rubbish removal and plastic recycling and cleaning up all the waterways in Indonesia.
I've seen some videos about people cleaning up garbage in like waterways, and they'll do
Mm-hmm.
like a time lapse.
Yep, that's
Like
what they essentially what
I've
they
se-
do.
I've seen videos of that, but I'm always like, that seems like so toxic, like really
Correct.
dangerous because it's ultra toxic. And it's really cool the marketing that's being done around it because they'll clean up like a waterway that's like just thrashed with garbage and they'll clean it up
Mhm.
and do like a time lapse and it looks really cool and it's like, oh wow, this is really cool. But then how are they getting paid? What is the point? Why are they doing this? Is this outward focus stuff?
Yeah, look, it's basically most, from what I understand, a lot of what gets removed, the plastic gets removed from the waterways and from the soil and gets processed and gets sent to Texas, I think, where the plant is, where I think it's turned into jet fuel. So a lot of it's driven by Exxon and the big international oil companies,
They're getting
because
that much plastic?
they are. There's enough. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's enough plastic in the soil in Indonesia to mine it. So you can literally dig it up and take it out and then reprocess it. And so
This
that
is
was the
garbage that's been getting pressed down for years.
basically, yeah. It's the recyclable plastic. So plastic bottles and
Crazy.
anything like that. Yeah,
That's
it is
crazy.
crazy. Yeah. Yes.
His
So that's
company,
what. Yeah.
his company does that. And so their company does it, or do they work for a company that does it?
That's.
They were
They
contracted
were. Yeah. They were
to do the
contracted
collection
Yeah.
and set up systems in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So from what I understand, the big, and I don't know if it's Exxon, but whatever the big, petrochemical company, they set up all the infrastructure, and then Toby and Andy went in to basically make it happen on the ground.
Crazy. And it's that lucrative. It's that lucrative that they can pay somebody to go to Indonesia and it's must be good money
Yeah.
if they're going over there and cleaning up garbage.
I think it's a combo of carbon credits and
Yeah.
being seen to be responsible. But obviously, there's got to be a payoff at the end, and I think that payoff is
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of R&D going into turning recycled plastics back into its original
Very
form,
cool.
and then using it as jet fuel or using it as other stuff.
Okay. But they both just came back to New Zealand?
Yeah, well, Toby came back about 6 or 8 months ago, and my brother, he and his family are coming back in June and July.
Back in
Are they
Australia.
Back to
They're in-
Australia. Yeah.
yeah.
They're in Australia. Are they going to take a little break and go back, or are they going to stay?
No, well, I think, as I said, that company is now wound up, so they're staying. I think Toby's still involved in that field, but in Australia, working for a different company, or working for himself. And then my brother's, he's gone down a different road as well. So
That's fascinating. I could do a whole podcast around that because I was fascinated by it. I was like, why are these people cleaning up garbage in Indonesia?
yeah,
This is weird. And it's great
yeah,
for the country. I guess it's good because they can it's recycling.
yep.
Everybody wins.
There's a lot of it, so
Yeah,
they can do
there
it.
must be just tons
Yeah,
and tons.
yeah,
Crazy. Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, it's good that Indonesia's getting cleaned up. I don't know too much about Indonesia. Yeah.
No, beautiful place, but yeah, they use a lot of disposable plastics, and that's kind of part of the culture. So
Sure.
that's why you end up with clogged waterways. Some of the beautiful beaches are just covered in rubbish that's been washed up. So yeah, I suppose they're trying to change the culture around that.
I try not to, although I use a bunch of plastic, but like I see the plastic water bottles, this is one, if you're listening, like I'm not crazy, like recycle environmentalist or anything like that, but one simple thing you can do, and it saves a ton of money, is filter your water and just have one water receptacle that you drink out of. I mean, and even precursing that, you should drink water. And I think people know this intrinsically, but like, especially in drywall, you'll see the dudes, like they have a whole crate of like water bottles, and it's like, just take one water receptacle to the job. And like right now, I have a glass. This lives in my house and it follows me around. And I just drink out of this. I don't have any plastic water bottles, is what I'm saying. Like that's a really simple way to not use plastic.
Absolutely.
And it's not good for you too. You're getting those microplastics into you too. It's not like, especially if it heats up in the sun, plastic's not good.
No.
Yeah. No. Metal, water, or glass.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
No, it goes into the it also goes into the marine life and all that kind of stuff. So there's,
We did notice when we were in the States last time, you've got a lot of them you have a lot of like aluminium bottles, like in airports and things like where we still use plastic. We did something different. We were like, we haven't seen water in these aluminium bottles before.
The bottle. What about the can?
Sorry, they're like a can.
Yeah.
Just when we noticed when we were around, like
still in the shape of a traditional bottle with a screw top lid, but it's made of aluminium.
Maybe
that was just Vegas. I don't know, but
we do. I try not to drink a lot of like soda, but they'll drink the monster drinks, and energy drinks are in the aluminum.
These were water bottles, and they were in like cans as well. Something we just have here.
The water might be a little better in that receptacle. But I don't know. Maybe. It's neither here nor there. It's an afternoon episode for me. Normally I go on in the morning. Afternoon episodes are a little different.
Yeah.
But
I think this is an early start for us. Or no, we had a bit of an early start, so I think we've sort of reached the sweet spot. So we're still waking up, and you're sort of nodding off.
I know. Well, and see, it's good. Like you are in the sweet spot. I'm like, just had my coffee at 9 a.m. I'm like ready. I'm energetic, and I feel like I'm more focused than in the afternoon. But it's fine either way. It's going to end up how it ends up. You guys are the first distributor that I would have on the show, especially for drywall, which is kind of cool. I'm, as a product manufacturer, I'm curious about the various ways that one gets a new product to the market. And so distribution is one channel. Now I've heard too, because there's distributors out of Canada, and I sell at 2 locations in Canada, CSR and Bart's taping tools now. CSR has 2 locations, and those are pretty good locations. But there's also a distributor. Do you guys know a lot of different distributors around the world? Is there a distributor sort of event that you guys go to on a global level where you meet with other distributors and you talk about what everybody's bringing in? It's interesting to me why you would go in the direction of distribution versus retail. And that might be interesting to our listeners as well. It's interesting to me.
I think, the model we run, as a distributor, you are the conduit between a supplier and a retailer at the end of the day.
Okay.
A lot of retailers don't want to import products themselves. Generally, whether MOQs are too big.
Don't they get it cheaper? Won't they get it cheaper though? Like I got a place in New Zealand. I'm just going to go direct to them. What would be the advantage for me using a distributor versus going direct to the retailer? Because the distributor is going to take a piece before it gets to the retailer because you're holding the product or you bring in enough and you like distribute. Just out of curiosity.
A good example is certainly the order quantities and, the amount of cash flow. So if you're a small business, you don't, a lot of suppliers won't, they may not export less than $20,000 US worth of product. And that might equate to 10 years of stock. So to a small shop. So we bring that in and then we sell it out in smaller quantities. So that's probably the major advantage, I think, of using a distributor as opposed to importing directly. That changes. You have relationships with the retailers in New Zealand. Correct. Yeah, and we also have an importing license. We have a customs account. We have all that kind of stuff. So we deal with all of that as well. So the retailer doesn't have to be an importer as well. They can focus on being a retailer.
I dealt with challenges getting into Canada because of those very reasons. Although I might be getting a better margin, or they are certainly getting a better margin. It's more challenging to be shipping direct to retailer versus going through a distributor. Correct. I want to go through a distributor, but it might be more challenging for a new product like me to like go through a distributor because we don't know, nobody's heard of it. We don't know if it'll sell, like these types of things.
That can be true. A lot of it is, I suppose in your case, with a product like yours, we do look for demand in our region. So if there is demand for it, quite often we'll have people contact us or email us a link and say, hey, have you seen this product? Can you bring it in for me? So that's certainly a good sign.
That's the strategy. I need to get in touch with Brad, and Brad's got to go to you. He's got to sell you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think where it's really shifted in the since we've been doing it, and especially when David was doing it, no one knew of ready mix compounds or auto tools, and so he was bringing it in and then doing the work to show people. Whereas now, everything's available online, right? Alice was great, but all these people were. And so we would get, the demand comes often to us, and then it's we've now got the reach of all of the country with for distribution with our retailers. So we've got in New Zealand, so we're based in Auckland, and we land our product into Auckland, and then we've got retailers up the length of the country. And so we will then sell across there with, and so we have a mixture of, so hardware, one customer base is our hardware channel, so your Home Depots. And then we also deal with more plastering, drywall niche shops, I don't know, over there, a Gyprox, store.
How many drywall niche type shops would you say that you guys deal with?
Well, so this is the other thing. So in New Zealand, we have about 20, and we have big retailers. So we have a chain, Bunnings. So we have 40. I remember going to America, and it's we've got 3,000 Home Depots.
Right.
We have 40.
You're a smaller country.
We're a smaller market. So and so we deal with everybody who's in within the drywall.
Do you have other distribution competitors in New Zealand?
Yes,
we do.
Yeah.
So these bigger shops might bring in stuff directly.
Correct. Yeah.
They do. Not generally in our field, or not in our field. They still prefer that distributor model. And a lot of it, I suppose as well with our products, we either have exclusivity, so no one can actually import the product into the country.
Sure.
So our aim is to establish our brands in retailers and specialist stores, and then once the demand is there, we know that we're going to benefit from that demand. So we we won't be put in a situation where we build the reputation and demand for the product, and then all of a sudden everyone else starts importing it and cashing in. So that's important too. But we also do. I mean, especially with the Westpac brand, we sell full containers into the specialist stores. So so whilst they don't import them themselves directly, they do land big volumes. So we're not.
It's interesting. They sell Westpac here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fascinating.
With our main, so Westpac is our only, it's our compound brand that we sell here in New Zealand. Okay. And our main competitor so they own quite a huge chunk of the market, and that's Jib, who, again, I think Brad was talking about jib stopping. It's a brand name.
Oh, okay, Jib.
We don't use that's our competitor, but that's just the way it is. But so we've got Westpac here in New Zealand, and that's our brand. Is the Jib brand made in New Zealand?
Mainly.
Yes, mainly, yeah.
Because they call it Jib stop. And if you're listening, and if you listen to any of my New Zealander episodes, they call drywall jib stopping, for clarification.
Yes, yeah. Whereas we try not to use the G word when we're talking about drywall or finishing or compounds or anything like that, because obviously that's our main competitor in the market. So, and I think Brad did mention that as the drywall world becomes a little bit more global, you might say people in New Zealand are starting to use the different terms like drywall and plasterboard and finishing compounds, as opposed to just
Have you considered bringing in any other brands of mud, or do you have a deal with Westpac where it's like, nah, we're just going to sell your stuff?
We have done it in the past. And we are looking at another one at the moment. It's a pretty crowded market, so it's not necessarily a positive thing.
Sure.
You simply might just dilute your market share in one product by giving it to another one. But we have bought in, I suppose, products that hit a lower price point before. It would be an added value kind of thing. It wouldn't be something that we would go in to compete with Westpac or anything like that. It would be it would fit another market, or it would be for a different reason.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there any products that you brought in recently that you're excited about that are new, where people are like, you got to bring this in, man? Besides Can-Am Tools, of course, they're sponsors. Well, actually, we can officially announce that we are going to be distributing morph sanders, and I know you've met James and spoken with James, but I had a conversation only a couple of days ago with James, and we're going to start working together and getting that a little bit more exposure. The morph sanders. James is a tremendous marketer. One of the best that I've seen come out. Also, the folks at Mudskip are really good at marketing. But the feedback that I've gotten from the morph sander is really good, just really favorable. And he has competed in a space that has been predominantly dominated by larger companies, and that with sanding tools and whatnot. So he's an independent that's sort of coming in, and he's just really turned that industry sort of around, because it's unique that he just does sanding. So he's not only is he very knowledgeable about what he's doing, but the fact that he makes the tools and does all that, it's just, to me, it's really, it's impressive. That guy's impressive.
Well, he's 3D prints or something.
Yeah, 3D prints. Yeah, I think so.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it's interesting that corner sander, that specific tool. I think. Yeah. They sort of first came out 4 or 5 years ago
with the Apex.
And everyone's like, oh, that's an idea, but no one's done it very well. I think everyone's chasing the holy grail of getting the the fine angling, getting it right into the corner and whatnot. So, and we sell a couple of different types, and I think that's why he's actually created something that's sort of well ahead of the curve, because a lot of people are chasing that tool and no one's really been able to make one that does it quite as well. I think that's where his success is coming from.
It's interesting. It comes along like it takes the right set of skills, and it's been the same with Fresco Harmony. Like I had to be knowledgeable about color, but also about drywall. And like, bring these things together, and you have to be like sort of an entrepreneur and a little crazy to like do something like, I'm going to do this thing that's really difficult and, nobody else is doing it. And that reminds me of like sort of what James is up to. I interviewed him a little over a year ago. He was sort of just starting out. Not only was it great then, but it's morphed. Like his products are morphed. He continues to make them better. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Also the beauty of the fact that he 3D prints them. So it's not a manufacturing process where when you want to make an improvement, you're like, all right, I'm going to start from scratch with all my dies and all that kind of stuff. So just print something different.
Yeah, so, and he's not beholden to a bunch of shareholders or a large company where, he's malleable. These smaller companies can make changes and adjust very quickly, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Huh, that's cool. Any others? And he's in your back. He's like your countryman. He's Australian. He's in your backyard. He could be friends with your brother for all you know.
Yeah. Uses plastic. No.
What was the last, I would say, big request from retailers in your area that's like, hey, you guys got to bring this in? You kept hearing it a couple times. And you're like, okay, we're going to bring this stuff in because everybody seems to want it, whether it's a paintbrush or whatever.
That is more of a market with plastic trims, and I think we're traditionally metal here because of our competitors we have they stock like the metal rondo trims. Have you heard of those? Rondo. Do you use aluminium, or is it aluminium? No, it's steel. So
we're talking external corner beads and things like that. So
I mean, it makes me think of Trimtex. Obviously, they make a vinyl corner bead.
Correct. So we think there's a big market for that. It is someone already has that agency over here, but it's not very big at the moment. So we think we'd like to get on top of that. We're just trying to work out how we can do it.
Now, in a situation like that, would you look to nurture a local company, or would you weigh out the pros and cons of a larger company, a different company, who's going to be the best? Do you take that into consideration?
Very, very much so.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be.
If you talk, say, about hide tools, you bring those into the company, they have an international reputation. They have a reputation within the market in New Zealand already. So that part of your marketing is already done. You simply have to find you then have to, find the people who want to purchase and whatnot. But that the people you're selling them to already know that they're getting quality. So you could probably relate that to the vinyl trims as well. So if you go down the road of bringing in someone like Trimtex who are already well known in this country, you've already got that part of your job done. But if you use a local manufacturer, there may be some cost savings or whatever, but you then have to get out there and convince people that like, this is a good product, it's a good trim. It's as the US equivalent or the Australian equivalent, or so they're definitely a big part of the decision-making process around what we do.
All right. And this might be more these types of questions, this line of questions might be more interesting to me, being a product manufacturer, than maybe somebody else, but whatever. It's my show. I can ask whatever questions. You guys have been pretty great. Anyone who's your favorite company to work with?
I think we're like Oh, it's a tough question. We've got supplier relationships for like and it was handshake deals done through David 30, 40 years ago, and we still have those relationships. And I can say Westpac, Hyde, Can-Am, Full Circle. We represent all of those brands, and they're all great to work. We're really grateful for their support.
I do really enjoy my chats with Wolfgang. From Can-Am. He's a lovely guy, and he has a great ethos in business, and he's sort of out there to push a great product. He's not pushy. I don't think he wants to make billions of dollars. He's just like, I've got a good product, I've got a good company, let's work together. And that's what I kind of like about him. And we'll ring up and have chats about lots of stuff.
I'll have long chats with Wolfgang. But I mean, Wolfgang, it's like he's about the process. He's about the game. He's about the process. Not like I want to sell out at, or I'm building this to like retire. He is about like making great tools and building relationships. And he's passionate about the industry. Some of my favorite aspects. He genuinely cares. He's been instrumental in Fresco Harmony, but also like he's been a huge supporter of the podcasts. Like really from early on, he reached out and started talking to me right away. I didn't know him early on. I got on the radar of Columbia, just by accident, and then shortly after, Columbia or Can-Am. Sort of Wolfgang reached out and he was like, hey, this is Wolfgang. And, we started talking, and he's an early episode 44, like an early episode on the podcast, but they've been big support, like just things like that. This industry is so small that support sort of goes a long way. This isn't like tech, Drywall is like, it takes a long time for change to occur. In this space, and it's small enough that like I can talk, I can meet you guys at a show in Las Vegas, and you come up again on my radar, a couple years later. It's not so big that, and we all know similar people, and
everyone's very approachable. I really, I'll speak with Jeff at Full Circle quite often, but when you reach out from a little place like New Zealand, into some quite big American companies. Or international, not only America, but I'm dealing with a guy out of Malaysia at the moment. But it's sort of, there's, they're all very approachable, and they're happy to take your calls and have a good chat about what's going on and things like that. And that's what I suppose I like about it. I mean, speaking to people all over the world and making some good friendships.
Very nice. And then a pearl of wisdom that I'll ask, and Bridget, maybe you could deliver a pearl of wisdom to the Drywall community, something that you could put maybe on a billboard to like instill a little inspiration, maybe some inspirational quote or something that you could tell your fellows out there in the world.
I can make you utilize AI for this, am I?
We'll like pull up Gemini and see.
It won't be a minute.
I'll flick over to you, Paul. Can you think of anything?
Inspirational quote for the drywall industry.
Or humanity. Something that you could put on a billboard that would instill something powerful that you feel, that you could.
Things will get better.
Things will get better.
Look, it's been a very tough few years for everyone around the world, and I think that's just, things will get better.
I love it. That reminds me of This Too Shall Pass.
Yes, that's true.
And it's that relates to good and bad, like, being present, like staying in the moment. This is where we're at right now. And it may not always be this way.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Bridget, anything? What do you got?
Oh, I'm not too sure now.
That's okay. You don't have to. You can think of it. We
Yeah.
could put it in the show notes later or something.
That's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you coming on. I know you were sort of a question mark. Maybe this isn't your cup of tea. Maybe Paul's more out in front, where you're more behind the scenes with Manners. I really appreciate both of you guys coming on the show today, supporting the Drywall podcast, giving us a little porthole into the world of distribution, which is a really necessary and not talked about a lot part of the drywall industry, like how these tools get distributed to different places. And I think the distributors play a larger role in the progression of this industry than maybe even than they know, because it's hard to get to the retailers. I've talked about it before, the resistance to change in the drywall space, whether it's the end user drywaller not wanting to try something new. We use Westpac. I mean, you guys have Westpac mud now on lockdown in New Zealand. Everybody's using it. It would be tricky to get those drywallers to use a new mud. That isn't to say there might be drywallers out there that might like a new mud. They just don't even know that there's other options or that they even have access to it. So you guys are a gatekeeper in essence to new products coming into New Zealand. That's a big role that you play in this industry. It's kind of cool. Thank you so much for being on the Drywall podcast today. Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
No, aside from saying thank you very much for having us on. It's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's nice, as you said, to let the drywall world know where we fit in the supply chain and the fact that
and we need to get
reasons that products out there for them to choose from is because of businesses like ours around the world who sort of act as that middleman and
that's right,
the retailers to hold all these wonderful tools.
And do you have a website? I mean, do you market like on sort of that level, or is it just like we go to the shows, we talk to the vendors, we talk to the retailers?
A website, or as much as anything, it's an online catalog. We don't mind, but anyone can jump on the manners.co.nz website and see what we do, the agencies and products that we distribute. Manners.nz.
And sometimes too, when you say Z, like here it's just Z. So I'm like, is it Z-E?
Yeah.
So no, sorry about that. So manners.co.nz or NZ as it were, if you want to find out more about these guys. Are you on social media at all?
Yeah, so you can contact us via those as well. Yep.
Where on Instagram?
Instagram, yes. Yeah.
And Facebook?
That's one of the best ones.
That's another way, probably the best way to contact us. So yes, we're on Manners Building Products.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you have a fantastic day in your world. Maybe we'll get to see each other soon. I'm not sure are you going to the AWCI event in New Orleans?
Unfortunately not. We've got
Not
a
this
whole
year.
heap of trade shows that coincide with that we are doing in New Zealand. So we're not going to make it this year.
Good.
At this stage.
All
Do you
right.
attend? What ones do you attend? Do you attend other ones other than the AWCI? Or?
I attend whichever ones I can afford.
Yeah.
Funny that we do the same thing.
I am trying to work. I'm trying to whittle some things, but in my world, I have to be very strategic. It would behoove me to go to the AWCI this year because of the Drywall podcast, and I'm much more well known, and it's good networking. Yes. It's pretty close. Yes. I'm not sure that I'll go this year, but or even IBS too. It's a good show.
Yes,
Do you guys go to IBS sometimes?
No, we haven't been to that one, but it is one that's on our radar.
on our radar. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
for
big
sure.
gypsum conference in Istanbul this year as well.
Oh,
So,
wow. Very cool.
So I think that's October. So we may try and get along to that one just for something different, to try the European sun.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, it was very nice talking to you. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate.
Appreciate it.
All right. Cheers.
See you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Huge shout out to Paul and Bridget for being with us on the Drywall podcast today. Thank you so much for your time and your knowledge. I feel like I know a little bit more about the distribution aspect of the drywall industry, and I hope that you do too. I'd also like to give a warm shout out to our sponsors for the month of March, Can-Am Tools. This episode was brought to you by Can-Am Tool. Over 50 years of semi-automatic tool finishing, made in Canada and trusted by pros around the world. If today's episode got you thinking about your toolkit, maybe it's time to take a look at what Can-Am can offer you. And if you run a supply house or tool dealership and you're looking for a proven brand with loyal following to add to your line, Can-Am Tool wants to hear from you. You can visit them at canamtool.com. Tell them Nick from the Drywall Podcast sent you. Also, if you would like to know some history about Can-Am, you can check out my episode of the Drywall Podcast with owner Wolfgang Dombrowski, episode 44. It's good, and I think you'll like it. Curious about coming on to the Drywall Podcast or sponsoring a month of the Drywall Podcast, you can reach out to me directly at info@frescoharmony.com. I would love to hear from you. You've got a lot of options when you go to the radio to listen to something during your workday or whether you're on the way to work. Today you reached out and listen to the Drywall Podcast, and I appreciate you for that. I hope you loved today's episode. Join us next week. We've got a drywaller from Utah on the show that I'm sure you are going to love. I hope you all have a fantastic week or weekend, whatever you're heading into, and remember, keep drywalling.